Grace to you and peace from God our Father and from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. One of the people we're going to pray for by name today is a little bit famous. He grew up in Swellvale. His name is Stephen Mather. And anybody connect that last name, Mathers? Anybody know? There's Cotton Mathers, yeah. But when he died during the Vietnam War, it got around to people. There's a famous child actor in the 50s who played a character on a very famous TV show. Anybody?
Jerry Mathers.
Jerry Mathers, yes. Leave It to Beaver. Yeah. When Stephen Mathers from Swellvale died, it got all over Hollywood and even announced on TV programs that Beaver had died, the actor who played. So for a little while, he was famous. You know, it's good. It's good that we remember their names and we remember their sacrifice and their service. But there's a certain irony to that story. I'm grateful that it wasn't Jerry Mathers, the actor who played Beaver on Leave It to Beaver. But Stephen was just as important as him. Was just as valuable. His life was just as important and just as valuable as an actor in Hollywood. There are so many who have died whose names are remembered by few. But today, even though we don't remember them by name, we remember them by their actions and by the gift that they gave to us. In the gospel lesson for today, and in the Acts lesson especially, Jesus, who gave his life for us on the cross, is standing before his disciples, and he is preparing. He is preparing to leave. He's preparing to ascend into heaven. And in our Acts lesson for this morning, we have that story of his disciples standing with him on the Mount of Olives, Mount Olivet, standing there and watching him ascend into heaven. And they were sad. They were devastated. They were devastated because what would they do? What would they do without their Lord? What would they do without their leader? What would they do without the one who first called them together, who was their whole reason for being together as a group of disciples? But you see, as we celebrate Jesus' ascension, we celebrate again a gift that God gives to us. Because if we listen to the words of the gospel lesson, Jesus talks about being glorified. That God was glorified in him through his words, through his deeds, through his death and resurrection. But also, God is glorified in us. In us. You see, Jesus' disciples who stood there and watched him ascend into heaven, each of them in their own way gave their life. Gave their life for the gospel. They gave their life for what they believed in. They gave their life for Jesus and for us. Did you know that there was only one of Jesus' disciples who actually died of old age? Every other one of those disciples who were named, other than John, they were all executed. They were all martyred for teaching about Jesus. They all gave their lives for what they believed in. Much like the people that we will pray for by name during our prayers today. They gave their lives for something that they believed in. And their lives have eternal significance. But because of their sacrifice, because of what they were willing to do, because of the price they were willing to pay, both the disciples and the Americans who gave their lives in service to our nation have made it possible for us to live the lives that we live today. Those disciples went throughout the world and they spread the gospel, they spread the good news, regardless of the danger that faced them. Because they wanted others to know the true blessing and the true nature of God's love for us, as Jesus had shown to them. And so Thomas, as I talked about a few weeks ago, Thomas went all the way to India, and proclaimed the gospel in India, and he was killed. Thomas was killed for his proclamation of the gospel, as did each of them, so that we can know Jesus Christ in our lives, so that we can know about God's grace and love and mercy, and so that Jesus can then also be glorified in us. We have an opportunity in this world that we live in to go out into the world and to be the kind of people that make a difference. We don't all have to sacrifice our lives, but God calls us to be witnesses. Jesus in the gospel says, "You will be my witnesses." And he's not talking just to the group gathered in the upper room after the Last Supper, hearing the words. He was talking to us. You will be my witnesses. You will be my witnesses. St. Francis, one time, one of my favorite quotes from St. Francis is, "Preach the gospel, and when necessary, use words." Preach the gospel, and when necessary, use words. Sometimes the best witness, sometimes the best proclamation of our faith in Jesus Christ is when we go out into the world and we simply live humble lives in service to God and one another. Sometimes we serve God, and sometimes we witness to the world by signing up to sell root beer floats at Thursdays on Main, because we as a church, we as the people of God, feel it is important to be out in the community and out in the world and do good, to make a difference and change the lives of people in our community. Sometimes it means gathering food or gathering clothing to send out to Pine Ridge Indian Reservation because of the great need over there. Sometimes our witness to the world is in making quilts for our high school seniors so that we can send them off to college knowing where their foundation is, knowing where the grace of God has impacted their lives, and knowing that they have a home they can always come back to where they will be loved and cherished. And sometimes it is gathering as God's people on Memorial Day weekend. And consciously grateful. Grateful to God for those who gave their lives for our nation, who gave their lives to make our world a better place, who gave their lives so that we can have the freedom to be in this place to worship on this day. You will be my witnesses. And we will not all witness in the same way. We will not all witness in the same place, and we will not all witness to the same people. But God is calling us to go out into the world and witness to the grace and love of Jesus Christ in our lives. Amen.